Hi, I'm Ann Marie Preik, and I am your host for today's Second Act Living podcast. This is a place where people in the second act of their life can come together to learn, pray, laugh about everything that this stage has to throw at you. So please help me welcome today's guest, Ashley Bagni. So, Ashley is a certified health coach and founder of Thrive Health Coaching, where she specializes in helping women 35 and up navigate the wild ride of midlife with more energy, better sleep, sustainable weight loss, and a whole lot less stress. Praise. She holds a certificate of completion from the Integrative and Functional Nutrition Academy and currently working toward her master's in integrative nutrition to deepen her knowledge and expand the way she supports her clients. Her approach blends science-backed strategies with real-life tools, focusing on the pillars of health from metabolism to mindset, because health isn't just about food or movement, it's about a whole life. So whether it's perimenopause chaos or postmenopausal plateaus, she helps women cut through the noise, ditch the PPP, which is the piss poor planning, and build habits that actually stick. So thank you so much, Ashley, for coming on the show, for coming back on the show. You are my first guest to be a returner, so that's exciting. That's always exciting to happen. So thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much for wanting me back and, um, letting me have a conversation with you, which I love doing here and offline as well. But I had such a great time the first time. And so I'm honored that you asked me to be here.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for this. So before we get started, we always do rapid fire questions. And I said before, some of them are new from the last time you were on. So this will be fun. Okay. So are you ready?
I think so. We'll see. I'm not a very rapid fire kind of a girl, but
So here's the thing. They're supposed to be rapid fire questions. They almost never are. So it's fine.
we'll see how rapid I can fire my answer.
Okay. When going on a date with your hubby, do you choose romantic candlelit dinner or Netflix and pizza?
Probably at this stage in my life, Netflix and pizza.
Mhm. Do you guys have a show that you're watching right now?
Um, Not well, I have a show that I like to watch, my guilty pleasure, which is Southern Charm, okay? Um, and he likes to watch that with me too. He'd probably be horrified that I'm telling him we're but, with 2 small children and a puppy, privacy is, a precious commodity around my house.
Yes. Yes. When going on a trip, do you pack your whole closet or travel light?
I have evolved on this. I used to pack my whole closet. Now I pack as little as I possibly can because I realize nobody really cares what I look like or how many times I wear my outfit.
It's funny you said that because same. I could never like flying. I always had to check a bag, always. But now my husband is kind of like, how about we not check a bag? How about we try not to check a bag? And the last probably 3 flights, I haven't. I've done carry on, and I'm like, it's fine. No one cares if I wear my jeans like 2 or 3 times. Like they don't care. Yeah.
No, no. And if they do, I have a lot of things that I could give them to do so that they won't be so right?
Yeah.
Call me if you're bored, please.
So where are you finding your joy in life right now?
Wow. I think in a lot of things. I think um my classwork is just really filling me up in a lot of ways. I have discovered a whole new passion and interest with biochemistry. So I think I am officially a nerd. Uh, Sign me up. I love it. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and like read about it and learn about it. I just love it so much. And then gosh, really my family, my kids, my husband, you know, all of us just being together. You realize how I was older as a mom, so you kind of realize how precious those moments are and how fast they go.
Eh,
So I think, just and my clients, of course, seeing them thrive and find success, it's really a powerful and moving experience.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what has been your favorite vacation?
My favorite vacation. Gosh. Have I have many favorite vacations.
Okay.
And my favorite vacation with my mom was when we went to Europe together. It was just it was the first time I had gone to Europe and I went with her. That was before I had kids. And then on my next favorite vacations right now, I would say are going on cruises with my family and another close family friends and their kids. And just it's you completely detach, right? 'Cause you don't want to pay for your cell phone bill out there. So all you turn that sucker off and it's just so nice to get away and just be with, the people that you love and you laugh with. And yeah, so I would say those.
That's awesome. So, what is your bucket list vacation?
Bucket list vacation. That I would say taking my kids to kind of some of the bigger cities in Europe so that they can really see history.
Yeah.
London, and make those connections with stories, like Peter Pan and Addington, and just like really have that come to life for them. In Paris, my daughter is obsessed with Paris. She thinks she's very bougie. Um, so, just I think that would be those are my bucket list. And then showing the kids Italy, which is where my husband's side of the family is from.
Right.
And
Cool. So, what is one new skill or hobby you have wanted to learn?
hmm, new skill or hobby. Probably learning Italian, and I think I said that last time. I know it's you I knew a few more words than I did the last time.
That's a work in progress, right?
Yes, I still sometimes think that I need to work on English, so
Mhm. Um, oh, so I guess this one, I'm going to skip this one because it's more like, what is one way you stay connected with your kids? But I guess that's more for like outside. But I guess I can ask the question, what is a good way you stay connected with your kids?
cooking together.
Oh, I love that. That's the first time someone said that. That's a great one.
Yeah, I think, they and eating dinner together too. We really try hard as a family unit, to eat dinner together every night, which means we say a no to a lot of things.
Mhm.
Not compromise that, but it's just such a connected time. The TV goes off, we turn on some music, and we just sit there and talk.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I learned a lot about my daughter's classroom and the 8-year-old romantic interactions and romances that happen on the playground because of that time. But just also cooking too with both of my kids.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I liked what you said. If you're going to say yes to something, then you probably have to say no to something else, right? So
Yeah.
honor that boundary, honor that value, and be okay with saying no to other things, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's hard to learn that lesson when you're young, and I just know it because it's just so what when you're in your 30s and your 20s and your teens, oh, forget about it. Um, but it really just gives you so much freedom,
oh yeah, for sure.
and just time to slow down.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What is your go-to stress reliever?
Oh, exercise.
Yeah.
Moving my body. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I gotta put my workout clothes on and, go for an actual workout.
Mhm.
Just moving my body, movement of some point, going for a walk, we have a puppy who is crazy. So that benefits him as well, but just moving my body to just sort of move it out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's probably the most common answer too, and that's a great answer. Um, I don't know if this applies, so if it doesn't, you don't have to answer.
Okay.
What's worse, hot flashes or forgetting why you walked into a room?
Ooh, it does apply.
Okay.
Yay for hormones. Um, for hormones that change.
Mhm.
Well, another topic. But anyways, I'm not gonna go on that soapbox right now. What is worse? My hot flashes aren't terrible, so I'm just gonna say forgetting why I went into a room
Mm.
is right now really obnoxious.
It's so
Um,
frustrating.
yeah, because I'm not really getting just random hot flashes. It's more night sweats for me.
Sure.
But I've had those really since I was in high school. So yes, I've had something wrong with me for a long time. I've needed lots of help. But yeah, the forgetting thing. And I used to think it was just baby brain, right? For a long time. Like, oh, baby brain. But my daughter is 8 now, so I feel like I have maximized the blaming it on her. Like, it's pregnancy hormones.
Yeah. Okay. So the last one. What is one piece of advice you would give your 20 something self?
Oh, do not listen to anyone else for advice on your life if they don't have the life you want.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. That's layered.
Yeah.
That's layered.
Yeah. And also, I think it's second to that is be really careful even then.
Mm.
Um, because people are, I think generally, I believe people are good people, but they're people, they're human. And so advice can only be so pure. There is always something underneath it. Even as parents, right? And it's like that's where I really learned. I'm like, oh wait, I don't want them to do that. Well, why? Well, because of whatever thing I have in my head. And it's like even when you love something that purely, you're still and so I would just like don't listen to other people's advice. Like now, I mean, there's obviously boundaries around that. Somebody's like, don't drink and drive. I wouldn't recommend avoiding this common sense.
Right. Right. No, I understand. I understand. That's good. It's yeah. And then it's this discernment piece, right? Who
Right.
you're asking for advice, right? Who is in your life that has a platform to do that, right? That's the discerning piece that comes into for sure.
Yeah, I think also like layered even further into that is sometimes the people that love you the most are the worst people to get
Mm.
advice,
Yeah, that runs deep.
right? Because they're just a lot there. They cannot I talk with my husband a lot about my philosophy on many things is just I live in the objectivism world. And when you love someone, it's really hard to be
Yeah, it is. It's hard to separate that. It's hard to separate emotions from fact, helpful
right?
information, or your own your own desires for that person, right? That's
Yeah, or to not want to hurt, to want, you know, being of pure intention, I think can get clouded by love. Whereas, for example, um, if you go to your doctor, they're going to give you advice and it's just straight advice,
Mhm.
right?
You hope
That's
that's what
about it. It's like you have strep throat, take this antibiotic, right? Where even if you were like, well, I have strep throat, your mom be like, well, you have strep throat, but if you take that antibiotic, then oh my gosh, it could mess up your microbiome. Then I mean, and it's just like that's a good example of like how convoluted it can be. So I just think be super careful, thoughtful about who you take advice from.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. If only I had that advice at my 20s, right? So that's good.
Right? Yeah. Same. Same.
Um, okay, so in our pre-interview this time, we talked a lot of things like last time we did, and when you were on the show the last time, you focused more on hormone health, what hormones are, how they affect the body, especially in midlife women, right? And that was
Right.
amazing, super helpful. So in this pre-interview, we were talking about what can we talk about now? What can you talk about now? And nutrition kept coming out, nutrition specifically for midlife. And I mean, I think this is great. I've actually had a few friends talk to me recently, and I'm like, well, actually, I'm having a come on, talk about this very thing. So stay tuned. So I already have people like anticipating this episode, which is exciting. So nutrition in midlife. So, how do you approach nutrition in your health coaching practice? What does that look like?
You know, it's all goal driven.
Okay.
It is because the more we learn about nutrition in the space of nutrition science, which I know it seems so convoluted. You hear one thing one day, and then the next thing it's like, and I want everybody to know that that is not because scientists who are studying nutrition are necessarily wrong. It's because they're layering information on top of each other, which
Mm.
then changes the complexion of the whole picture. Um, and also, and this is not to negate any of the power of the hypotheses that come from, but lots of nutrition science is done on rats. And then they create a hypothesis, and sometimes that hypothesis then gets extrapolated to humans because there is a lack of understanding about where that information came from.
Well, that's
And so, how I approach it is based on the person coming to me and what they need.
okay.
So, I have clients who come and say, I need to work on my sleep. Okay. Well, most people don't think of sleep and nutrition, right? But several months ago, I had a client, actually, right in the beginning of summer, had a client, wanted that. And we upped her protein, sleep gets better.
Eh,
So then obviously I have several of my clients. In fact, most of my clients come to me for weight loss.
okay.
So then we're working on and looking at their energy intake. And when I say energy intake, I mean calories, but I just hate that word. It is such a um, basic word that doesn't really express what you put in your mouth is. It's way more than calories.
Mm.
So we'll talk about energy intake. Okay. Well, um, and what we need to do. And then I've had clients come to me. I've got kidney disease. How do I eat to reduce my inflammation? I'm pre-diabetic. How do I craft a diet and a lifestyle to avoid becoming a full diabetic? And so really it's about the person in front of me and what they want. Um, but there are some, foundational things that are very familiar to everyone. And there is no magic in this.
Yeah.
It's just, as Michael Pollan said, who is a leading kind of one of the founders of nutrition science, like eat food, mostly plants, not too much. And it's truly that simple. Don't overeat. Eat a lot of vegetables and healthy fruits and vegetables. And, make sure it's actually real food,
Uh,
not processed food, not packaged food. Um, but generally speaking, that's sort of how I approach everyone. Uh, and there is a big movement in the nutrition space for nutrigenomics or nutrigenetics, meaning like your gene interaction with food, um, how your genes dictate how you react to food, and then how the food you eat dictates your genes.
oh, wow. Okay.
So, and there is a lot to that. I think that's interesting. Um, and actually, I'm writing a paper on it right now, but the common denominator among all of those things is none of that nutrigenetics and your genes, all that. Um, it doesn't really move the needle that much
Huh.
if you're not doing the foundational work to begin with.
Hmm.
So go ahead. I also was gonna say, so like, not let's say that I'll be very like, oh, I can't have lactose because genetically I am missing this enzyme to process it.
Okay.
Um, Oftentimes that just does not change the decision making for people. And I think this is where all this biohacking sort of distracts people from what the foundations are. It's like we all know, generally speaking, most people, that we need to be eating with certain dietary patterns. We don't need more information. We already know that.
Yeah.
We know a lot. We know we should be eating, a lot of fruits and vegetables and avoiding packaged foods. Like, it, I don't think it takes a wizard to understand that, um, and not to pick on Oreos, they just come up because they're an easy mark, that Oreos aren't a health food. Right. I'm fairly sure no one that I know thinks that Oreos are a health food, yet people are still consuming large amounts of Oreos. So we already know what we need to do. I think in the space I'm in, it's not people not knowing what they need to do. It's how do I do it in the face of everything that comes at me?
Mm. Yeah. How does that functionally play out in life? That's no. And he said that. Yeah. And you can say that about anything you're talking about. It's never especially, we have all the information we possibly could ever want in our hand, right?
Right.
Carry it in our back pocket. So it's never about a lack of information. It's what we do with that information functionally in our life. Um,
Right. Like you can go on, I mean, I could, it's probably not really very helpful for my business making, but admittedly, you could go onto ChatGPT or Gemini or any other artificial intelligence platform. You could, if you asked it the right questions, and arguably some people don't know the right things to say because your input gets your output with that. But let's say you ask it the perfect thing, you phrase it all the right way, you could get yourself a health coaching program, a nutrition program, a personal training program right there, like free. The problem is then if that's there and it's been there, right? Because the books have been in the library, the information's been on Google. m- More information doesn't change habits.
yeah. And that's so fascinating, even seeing the negative consequences of
Mhm.
decisions, even living those out or seeing it in loved ones around you or friends or family or things like that, even that
Even that.
doesn't necessarily motivate you to make a behavior change.
Right. And I think that that's where I kind of really help people understand to get over that hump. Because part of being a health coach, at least from my perspective, is I took a deep dive into understanding how it changed.
Mm, that's good.
Uh, yeah, BJ Fogg out of Stanford, Charles Duhigg, James Clear with Atomic Habits. But these people who have arguably spent a good part of their life researching habit change, um, they'll tell you, you know, people don't need more information. And that's where a lot of that information, to go back to like the science and the research, um, the practical application of all of that stuff, that's where it gets lost.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and
So
as you as a health coach, me as a life coach, like you can say, so same. You can go on Chat GPT and even counseling. You can go on Chat GPT and actually, if you're asking the right questions, you can actually have like a free counseling set, which I think is bananas, but that's another conversation. Um, but it's the same thing for coaching, like for life coaching. You can have a conversation talking about, you know, whatever you want to talk about, vision and goals and the gap of where you are to where you want to be, right? Which is what coaching essentially is. The coach brings the process and the client brings the content, right? And you can do that with an AI, but you are missing so much of what makes coaching, health coaching, life coaching, whatever, special. You miss that relationship piece, that nuance piece, and that partnering, right? You need to be partnered with. Um, it's that support and accountability, which is a huge piece of coaching, is that coach, you establish a goal, but that coach holds that goal for you, right? So
right.
when you start going down a different path, you're like, well, hold on. We talked about that. Is that not important to you anymore? Like that kind of thing. So it's not about more information.
No.
It's about
And
pondering someone to apply that information. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's where I think the whole approach to nutrition for me with my clients is, well, they're goal based. Like, what do you need right now?
Yeah.
And how do I realistically and practically get you to augment for the long term
Yeah.
your dietary pattern?
Yeah.
Um, this is no, it, and the irony is it really has nothing to do with nutrition, right? It does, but it doesn't. In the thing that I think people often miss with nutrition, because we have been culturally conditioned to like, oh, eat. That just means calories in, and then you go burn the calories out. And then if I do that and I am in an energy deficit, where my body's burning more energy than I'm taking in, and I just do that long enough, then I'm just gonna lose weight like magically. Well, I mean, technically that would work, because you're following the laws of thermodynamics.
Sure.
However, what we eat is super complicated. It involves our brain, and communication from the brain stimulating hormone production throughout the body. It involves the gut. It involves your sleep. It involves, to an extent, your genetics and your epigenetics. It involves your environment. It involves social and cultural.
Yes.
Yes, and it also involves your economic status, to the point that you have the social determinants of health. Do you even have access to this healthy food?
Right.
Can you afford health? And so when people just narrow it down to, oh well, I know I need to change my diet, and I'm just gonna like eat less. It's like, it, what you eat is way more complicated than put food in, go burn food off.
Mhm.
Yeah, if people saw the image of what your metabolism looks like, it is the most complicated, interwoven thing you can possibly see. You cannot connect the dots. You cannot follow the paths because it's so complicated. And then, and when people think of metabolism, they often think of, well, how fast I burn calories, right? But metabolism really is how your body is making things and breaking things.
Mm.
And all day long, your body is making stuff and then breaking things down to make more stuff or stopping that process because there's enough stuff being made
Huh.
or then restarting it because they're like, oh, it's getting a little low. Let me make some more.
Yeah.
And it is constantly doing that.
Hmm.
Um, every tissue of every organ in your body does that. It is this most exquisite, complicated thing. And when we think about nutrition, I feel like, um, especially for women in their midlife, it has been intentionally made complicated
Mm.
for the financial gain and benefit
Yeah.
of people who are trying to further complicate it for you so that you need them to rescue you.
Mm. Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be that complicated.
Mm.
Um, it's again, it's back to the basics
Yeah.
of eating real food. And I mean, we could have a whole podcast on what is real food.
Right. Right.
Uh, eating real food, a lot of plant foods, um, and not too much. I mean, it truly is that simple.
Mhm. Yeah. And so, especially for you, since you're in this space and you're going deeper into the space with getting your master's,
Yeah.
uh, how to pick apart, even though it is more complex. And probably as you dive deeper, you have that realization of, oh, wow, this is way more involved and complex than what I had anticipated. But then as a coach, you're sitting with someone who they don't need to know the complexity, right?
No.
No, even though it is super complex, you can communicate that in a way that is helpful for them. Otherwise, you just get lost in the weeds and you're worse off than you were before because you're like, well, I have no idea what now, right? I so my next question is like, how do you communicate the complexity of nutrition to your clients, to your women in midlife, men in midlife? I'm assuming mostly women. Um,
Yeah, mostly women, and then my husband.
yeah.
He doesn't listen.
So how do you communicate that complexity to your client, midlife woman, in a way that is understandable and attainable for them?
Yeah, I the best way I've found to communicate it is by making a lot of analogies.
Okay.
Um, for example, one, especially for sleep, right? Sleep is like this thing that we all want more of. And if we're getting it, we want to make it better because
Yeah.
it's so powerful. Um, but one way I communicate with my clients on sleep is like sleep is not this inner thing that we do. Sleep is um an intervention tool for your body. And just like any other intervention, if you don't do it when you're supposed to, you will suffer consequences.
Mm.
And so I love to explain to my clients the power of sleep is like, listen, during the day, you have all these day shift workers. They're in your body, they're awake because the sun's out and that's when they do their work. All right. But then the sun starts to go down and they're a lot like you. Like, all right, I'm calling it a day.
Mm.
They wind it down. And you got the night crew coming on. All right. The night shift workers, they come in and they got their 8, 7, 8, 9 hours of work to do. Right. And so they're doing their work. But if you are consistently only allowing them 5 hours to do their 8-hour shift, stuff isn't getting done. Okay. The cleanup process has not happened. The night shift workers can't meet their objectives and goals. They haven't been given enough time to do their work. So then they still have to leave because the day shift workers come.
Yeah.
And so the day shift workers come and they say, wait a second, you guys are lazy. You didn't get all the work done. So now I'm going to have to do all my work and your work. That's fine. I'll do it because I'm amazing. I can do it. But you're going to have to pay me a lot more now.
Mm.
Right? Because who's going to go to work and have to do somebody else's job and not expect to be compensated? Okay. And what is the brain's compensation? Glucose. Our brain loves glucose. It can operate on ketones and some other, but it loves glucose. The brain uses more glucose than any other part of the body, glucose. So if you've ever noticed you are sleep deprived and you are craving highly palatable, easily digested, refined, quick carbohydrates, you there have your answer. It's because you are sleep deprived. And your brain is telling the rest of your body, yo, I want some more payment here because I got stuff to do. Because like your brain can't stop working, can't just like peace out for a while. That would be a problem. Um, so your brain in this sleep deprived state, through all that complicated mess, sends these signals, and you start craving carbohydrates.
Wow. You're kind of like, it's like an aha moment light bulb right, right now for me right now. Like, I'm just starting to think like, holy moly, like that is an incredible analogy.
And so it's how I communicate these very complicated things. And of course, that I am taking what is exquisitely complicated through so many different layers of operations within a cell and um, messenger enzymes. It couldn't be more complicated, but I just get down to its most basic elements. What is really happening? And that is an easy way to understand it.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And my mind's getting and it's not that you're telling me any new information, going back
Right.
to new information. None of that's new. I knew
Right.
everything you just said. It
Right.
is the way you said it in an analogy metaphor form that like, oh,
Right. And so I think as females, for those of us who have had children and we have gone through that newborn phase where we were just desperate for sleep.
yeah.
At least I was, because I had like two of the worst births ever. And you reflect back and you're like, oh, well, no wonder I felt hungry all the time.
Mhm.
Maybe yeah, I mean, I was nursing, so maybe that has something to do with it, right? But like, I wasn't getting any sleep, and so, or you think of a time in your life when you were super stressed out and your sleep was compromised and you're just like eating, fisting, I don't know,
Potato chips.
gummy worms
Exactly.
or like Twizzlers, or Swedish fish. Those are my go-to of the day. It's always about my thing back in the M&Ms. But it's like you're sleep deprived. Your brain, your body is going to do whatever it has to make you do to keep the brain functioning,
Yeah.
you know? And if so, the brain is sending signals, like it's like the hierarchy in the body, right? The brain's getting it first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So without the brain, nothing else works.
Right.
And so, and we want that to continue because, your brain is off, but you have really great muscles. Maybe that's limited.
It's good.
But that's how I communicate, or I have found it effective. Somebody else might have a way more effective way to do it, but that's how I have found it effective to communicate to my clients the power of their nutrition choices and then their power of outside of nutrition, their movement practices, their sleep, their stress, all of those things.
Yeah. So what are some like the most common like comments or requests your clients come to you regarding nutrition? What are some of those common ground?
What do I eat?
Okay.
It is like just that basic question. And I find that to be so reflective of the time we're in nutrition. Um, it has gotten so kludged, so confusing.
Yeah.
There, and not just from a science standpoint, but really more from like the media, whether it's regular TV media, regular, I don't know what that means. Whether it's TV or social media, so like print, it has gotten so complicated. But if you tease all of it out, and that's sort of what I do is my philosophy is what do I what is everyone saying?
Mm,
If you read between the lines.
okay.
Whether that's somebody who is paleo, somebody who is carnivore, somebody who is the big fan of the Mediterranean diet, a plant-based diet, somebody who is omnivorous. What are all of the people saying across the board?
Mm,
They're all saying the same thing, but they just do it a different way. And what they're all saying is if you can't, if it wasn't killed or picked, don't eat it. Right. So if it, if you made it in a factory, um, and it has a big long ingredient list, don't eat it. Right. If you pick it or you kill it, then eat it. I mean, that's what they're all saying, but they're just saying it in different ways.
with different, yeah, like different ways, different um, values, different
Right.
values.
Yeah. Right. And there's nothing wrong with either of those, any of those diets. From a dietary standpoint, if you're just looking at straight weight loss, you can find data to support weight loss in every single one of those diets.
Mhm.
Because what's ultimately happening with every single one of those diets is they are all just restricting their energy intake.
Mhm.
That's it. Um, No, other people have other health goals besides weight loss, right? Like you could need to work on your liver health, your cardiovascular health. You could have mental health challenges. Any number of things which would make you need to be more precise with that. But the carnivores are saying cut out the junk food. Don't eat processed foods. The plant-based people are saying cut out the junk food. Don't eat processed food. The omnivorous people are saying cut out the junk food. Don't eat processed food. They're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and then so that's like, what do I eat? And I just go back to Michael Pollan's statement, eat food, mostly plants, not too much.